Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, July 27th, 2021. Time is 2:01 p.m. This is our business meeting agenda. Officially calling the meeting to order, attending Commissioners Duncan, Brooks, and Fillios. And I will ask Jerry, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, then. Can we move on initially to the consent calendar, please?
I move we approve the consent calendar as listed on our business meeting agenda for July 27, 2020.
I second the motion. I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan. Chairman Fillios.
Aye, and the motion's carried. Payables list, please.
I move that we approve the payables for the week of July 19th through the 23rd, 2020 in the amount, 2021, in the amount of $636,103.59.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Fillios.
Aye, motion's carried. Any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. Moving on, first of our action items. Open, request for qualification, also known as an RFQ, for the court-appointed special advocate for CASA, and this is a Board of County Commissioners action item.
Yes. So we received 3 packets, and I'm not sure that there's anything to read on these packets. So you just want me to open them? I mean, I can say
You
who
just
they're from.
acknowledge the receipt.
Acknowledge?
Okay.
Who they're from.
Okay, great. So then I move that we acknowledge the receipt of bids from Schwartz Law, Alyssa C. Schwartz, Attorney at Law, and Stacy Crocker Haggerty, Haggerty Law.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Fillios.
Aye, motion's carried. Item number 2, mutual aid agreement with Fairchild Air Force Base, KCSO. Captain Stu Miller, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Stu Miller for the record. So this is a MOU between us and Fairchild Air Force Base that they initiate as a and then the rest of us are signatory agencies on it. It's really for, in support of, if we call them in need of, I can think of usually one thing we call them for is their bomb disposal unit. If it's a military ordnance, they come over and help us with that. But it also gives us access to help them if they have a need, which they haven't. This is I think the 3rd MOU that we've signed with them, and we recommend the support of it.
Okay,
Okay.
and they're usually good for 2 to 5 years? What's the?
Yeah, I think it's every 2 years they come before us again, or 3.
Okay. Questions? No?
Nope.
Motion?
I move that we approve the mutual aid agreement with Fairchild Air Force Base and KCSO.
Second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Fillios.
Aye, motion is carried. Item number 3, agreement for inmate housing for the Adult Detention Center in Nez Perce County. Captain Miller.
Captain Deak.
Oh, Captain Deak, sorry.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Captain Andy Deak. Before you have an agreement that updates the prior contract that we have, a summer agreement, that was last signed in 2018. This is an update. Mostly it's just for the price increase. We went from $60 to $70 per inmate per day for housing if we need it. We currently do not require that, but it's just a contingency in case we get overcrowded again.
Okay. Questions? Motion.
I move that we approve the agreement for inmate housing at the Adult Detention Center for Nez Perce County.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Fillios.
Aye, motion carried. Item number 4, memorandum of understanding with Southwest Idaho Wireless for Southwest Wireless Integrated Network. And let's see, the U.S. Forest Service, KCSO. Alan.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Mallory for the record. Today I have another MOU needing board approval. This is for the U.S. Forest Service to renew their radio usage agreement. This usage agreement allows them to operate and communicate on the county 700 megahertz trunk radio equipment by allowing them access that would give them the ability to communicate to our dispatch and our deputies for mutual assistance calls and other law enforcement purposes.
Okay. Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve the memorandum of understanding with Southwest Idaho Wireless Integrated Network, United States Forest Service, and KCSO.
Second?
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Fillios.
Aye, and the motion's carried. Item number 5, memorandum of understanding, also an MOU with the University of Idaho Landscape Architecture, Community Development. Director Callahan.
Commissioners, this MOU would allow us to work directly with the students and instructors of the program. In particular, they would assist us with researching the area of city impact agreements we have, mapping out how far the cities have annexed, for instance, so that we know how to adjust the ACIs accordingly. It's truly a win-win for us and for the students to get real-world project work.
Okay. Any cost?
No, sir.
They're getting credit. I
Entirely
assume.
free, and they get credit through their
Wonderful.
curriculum.
Okay. Motion?
I move that we approve the memorandum of understanding with the University of Idaho Landscape Architecture and Community Development.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Fillios.
Aye, motion's carried. Item number 6, renewal of the independent contractor agreement for the hearing examiner with Party of Woodward and Community Development. Go right ahead, David.
You may recall, we discussed this briefly, where
Yes.
the hearing examiner just wants a different contract so that it's not required to have insurance, which is costly. Pat's reviewed it, actually wrote it, and is fine with it. So it's before you, ready for your signature,
And this brings it into a line with the other.
which is actually identical with what the contract is with the other hearing examiner. Thank
Fair
you.
enough. Okay, motion.
Is it my turn? My
Yeah,
turn?
yep.
I move that we approve the renewal of the independent contractor agreement, hearing examiner with Woodward and Community Development.
Second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Fillios.
Aye, motion is carried. Thank you, David. Item number 7, First Amendment for hazardous wildland fuels treatment agreement with North Idaho Landscape and Forestry LLC and our Resource Management Office. Kim?
Yes, Kim Riley for the record. This is our first amendment to our agreement with North Idaho Landscape and Forestry for the Antwerp Bay down on Ferguson Lake Natural Area project. This removes the herbicide spray from the remaining 8 acres, and it increases the rate per acre to $5,500.
Okay. Questions for Kim? Motion?
I move that we approve the First Amendment for the hazardous wildland fuels treatment agreement with North Idaho Landscape and Forestry LLC.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Fillios.
Aye, and the motion's carried. Item number 8, professional service agreement for the Fairgrounds RV Park Phase 4 for engineering and design with Welch Comer. Once again, Resource Management Office. Kim?
Kim Riley, and for the record, this is the agreement with Welch Comer to perform the design and engineering for phase 4 of the RV park project.
Okay. Motion?
I move that we approve the professional services agreement with the Fairgrounds RV Park, Phase 4, engineering and design with Welch Comer and the Resource Management Office.
Second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Fillios.
Aye, motion is carried. Item number 9, 2021 EMPG Kootenai County Grant Application, Office of Emergency Management. Who is taking this one?
Rachel.
Yeah, go ahead, Rachel.
We are requesting approval to apply for the 2021, and this is the Emergency Management Program grant that pays the staff and operations for our office.
Okay, any questions? Motion?
I move we approve the 2021 EMPG Kootenai County, it's the grant application for our Office of Emergency Management.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Fillios.
Aye, motion's carried. I'm going to skip to item 11, and we'll come back to 10 because that might take a little bit longer. So item number 11, Resolution 2021-73, Joint Development Impact Fee Advisory Committee, Board of Commissioners. Bill, do you want to take this?
I can. I would prefer somebody else reading it. I'm having a hard time with all this smoke has got me kind of.
Sure.
Go right ahead.
What it is statute requires the Board of Commissioners to issue a resolution for the appointment of the committee that serves to oversee the fire department's impact fee program. Is that enough?
Exactly correct.
Okay.
That does
So that's what this resolution is for.
Okay. Any discussion?
No, I think it's pretty much boilerplate, so.
Good, I
Okay, and
thought
it's
you were
been
gonna make me
reviewed,
try to
so.
read it.
Yeah, it's been reviewed by legal, and they actually have names for all the advisory committee, which will be appointed, I think, at their meeting this month.
Fair enough.
You did a good job.
Okay. Motion, please.
I move that we approve Resolution 2021-73, which is the Joint Development Impact Fee Advisory Committee.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Fillios.
Aye, and the motion is carried. I'm going to move back up to item 10, request for police patrol funding for the 2021 North Idaho Fair and Rodeo at the fairgrounds.
Alexcia Jordan.
Alexcia, please.
KCSO has requested funding not to exceed $15,000 for services typically provided by KCSO at the annual fair.
Okay. Can I understand, help me understand the 15,000, the figure?
I can help a little bit. Stu Miller for the record. So we met with Alexcia a couple of different times on this. In years past, the sheriff has funded overtime for the deputies to work at the fair through our normal budget process, or through our normal budget dollars. Those budget dollars we don't have. You've all seen our overtime, where it's going at. And we presented it to the fair and said, we need you to start paying for some of it. Just so you guys understand the cost of it, I think we gave it to them, it was $47,000 is about what it would take to actually cover all of the costs that the sheriff's office would give to that endeavor. This is a 10-day fair this year. We have a couple of events that are a little more hotly
Contested?
Promoted.
Yeah, promoted.
Whatever.
And, I think annually the fair usually gets about attendance-wise 80,000 people through that. That's a lot of people to manage, a lot of impact for the area. And I can't take away from the patrol division off the streets for everybody else and just devote all those. So the people that are at the fair, the deputies, have to be on overtime.
Right.
And so this is just to help offset some of the costs associated with that endeavor.
So let me understand. Typically, the fair sets their budget in November, and you guys last summer, right? So last summer, you did not budget any dollars for the fair, and you did not go to Alexcia to make sure she could put it in her budget.
So obviously there wasn't a fair last year, so we didn't have any of that. We did meet with the fair folks about March, April-ish area and discussed it. We talked about it. She's already had budgeted in her side for the events. We didn't know the events that were gonna be there. When we budgeted last year, we didn't know it was gonna be this big. And so, and then we had a new sheriff. So, no, we didn't budget for it.
Okay.
So if this were, let's say, 5 instead of a 10-day fair, would there have been any additional charges, or would you have just covered that as part
Yeah,
of it?
no, I think that we would. We're in a new era right now where we have a boss, that says, if somebody requests us for additional stuff outside of our normal budgeted stuff, they need to start paying for those costs associated with that. And like we told Alexcia as well, you know, the 15,000 is a drop in the bucket. So we will be eating a lot of the costs, and we're trying to come up with some creative scheduling and other funding sources potentially. But, you know, in hopes that next year we can actually have a pure and accurate, this is what it's gonna cost, this is what she needs to budget for that to happen. And like I said, we walked in the door and I had, you know, dollars, and it was, you know, kind of shocking, 47,000. And then, you know, with the sheriff and Alexcia talking back and forth, there was a, you know, we could do it for maybe 15 this year, and then next year we need to look wholly at our budget to see what it's gonna look like. And we're gonna.
Can you briefly describe the coverage?
So the fair starts around 10 in the morning and it goes until Friday, Saturday, goes until midnight. 10.
Yeah.
But the carnival stays open until midnight, and that's usually where we get our fun activities. You know, people going to the fairs, usually it's you know, the exhibits. You don't see a lot of people, you know, getting crazy in the rabbit barn. But, you know, the carnival night, you know, as the night wears on, they have some plans in place where you know, the beer gardens are ceasing at 9:30. And so, our coverage typically is from the beginning of the fair until about an hour after the fair closes. So midnight, 1 o'clock.
So is it possible, and Alexcia, I guess this question's directed to you, is it possible to shift them to maybe noon or 1 instead of starting at 10? I mean, is that?
We did.
Okay,
Yeah, that's where
That's the plan is to shorten the hours that we're there. Yep.
okay,
Knowing that, you know, if there's a call for service that happens inside the fairgrounds, we're gonna have to respond. Just realizing that we're gonna be pulling those resources from, you know, our local area to get into there. And
Sure.
we do have assistance. Coeur d'Alene Police has offered some assistance on some of the heavier nights, Friday, Saturday, and then during the concert. So there is some cohesive stuff with other agencies that we're trying to pull in as well. And that was kind of we assisted them during the 4th of July with some services, and so they're gonna assist us during the fair. So we kind of put that into place several months ago.
Okay. And I presume you're not compensating them?
Nope,
that was a trade,
It's a
it sounded
trade.
like,
it was basically a trade for services, yeah.
yeah, which is great.
Any other questions?
Well, yeah, I mean, where's the money coming from, and who are we being asked to pay for this? So, Alexcia, not having budgeted for this, knowing that it's a 10-day fair, do you think it's something that the fair proceeds will cover?
I wish I could accurately answer that question. I mean, it really is dependent upon the success of the fair, obviously. I am not willing to compromise on our security plan. And they've done a great job to work with us further. Again, we didn't budget for that because we've never had to pay KCSO before. We do
Right.
pay our private security companies, and we pay them a great sum.
Sure.
So,
How about this? I would be willing to agree to indemnify the fair if you don't end up with enough money to cover this at the end of the fair. So sometime in September, come back to us and say, okay, this is what we have, this is our bottom line, this is where the money went, and, you know, we're still short. And then,
and in the meantime, are we willing to look at state statute and get a clearer understanding?
yes, and so our trusty legal person is here, and the
I've
way.
actually got it right here.
Yeah, I know, I do too. If you would just want to comment on that? Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Take a look at that.
So Commissioner Duncan asked me, and now the board's asked me to address Idaho Code 22-209. And the way I read it, it doesn't really apply to this situation. This is a statute that allows, I believe with some cooperation between a fair board and a municipality, a city, to where the city would provide police services if that city passed an ordinance allowing the police to do that. And then the county would pay for those services. I think that's, that would be by cooperation between those three entities. What this does not do is compel the sheriff to provide what would otherwise be private security services. The sheriff would be obligated to respond to service calls regarding crimes or disturbances and those sorts of things. But the sheriff is not obligated to provide what would otherwise be fairly called private security services to the fair. And this statute doesn't require that. So,
Okay, fair enough. Bill, any thoughts?
No.
You know, my perspective is this: you've had a rough year, and you've had to accommodate us with jury selection, cots in
COVID
the event
testing.
of, when the event of overflow from our hospitals, whatever. So, and also given the fact that Coeur d'Alene PD is willing to chip in if necessary, I'm willing to fund this. Going forward, next year, different matter, but for now, for the 15 grand. But you don't have an invoice yet, do you?
No.
Captain Miller, could you please provide an
Could
invoice
you
to
write
them?
her an invoice quickly?
You betcha.
Quickly?
Yeah.
But I'm fine with it for this year,
I am
for
too.
the county picking it up. Leslie?
I am not, because I think that the people going to the fair should provide for that and not people who are not going to the fair. But knowing that this was kind of a oversight from both parties not communicating in the proper time of year, then I would be willing to indemnify at the end if the proceeds did not cover this additional expense. So,
You want to comment?
No, I'll make a motion, though.
Go right ahead.
I move that we approve the request for police patrol funding 2021 North Idaho Fair and Rodeo in the fairgrounds.
Okay, I'll second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
nay.
Chairman Fillios.
Aye, and the motion is carried, okay? So you're all set there. All right, public comment. Please come forward.
There's a lot of citizens that have some serious concerns
Need to
about.
state your name.
Oh, my name is Nina Beasley. Anything else you need, Rathdrum?
What city? Rathdrum?
Yeah, citizen of Rathdrum. There's many citizens that are very concerned about the artist that's coming to perform at the fairgrounds, Nelly, considering this artist has lyrics that talk about women as hoes and bitches and whores and pimp juice and all this other disgusting stuff. And according to our Idaho Constitution, Article 3, Section 24, it states, promotion of temperance and morality. The first concern of all good government is the virtue and sobriety of the people and purity of the home. It does say the legislature should further all wise and well-directed efforts for the promotion of temperance and morality. But I feel that every elected official has the same charge to promote temperance and morality. And from what I understand, those that are on the fairground, the board, that they're appointed. But I'm sure there are some things that you all can do, such as their funding or other things to say, look, this is what we want in our community. And as a mother of 5 children, I can tell you, this is not something that I want, a community that I want my children to grow up in, with having this kind of artist that does not have character come into our community to ruin the moral fabric of our community. And so for me, I'm going to ask you what you all are going to do, or are you willing to do to make sure that we don't have this kind of person coming into our community, considering the fairgrounds, that's funded by our government. So it's part of the government entity. What are you all going to do to make sure we don't have this riffraff coming in our community, to ruin our community?
Leslie, do you want to respond?
I'll go last.
Oh, let me go, let me go. This reminds me a lot, and you probably weren't alive when Elvis Presley was out there initially. And he was going to destroy the moral fabric of America by his performances and his lyrics. And that didn't happen.
Well, Elvis Presley is a lot different than Nelly, because Nelly
That's
talks
your-
about women as bitches and hoes and whores and all kinds of
I'm not
sex
going to
trafficking.
debate, I'm not going
and
to
all
debate
that.
you. You had your say. I had mine.
Yeah, obviously you are in promotion of this as well as a lot of other things.
I agree. I think the fair has done a very good job of selecting this guy and vetting this guy. So I'm very, very happy with the selection.
Oh, I see. A good reflection of your character.
Yes, it is.
Another thing is I've heard from numerous sources that there's sex trafficking going on at the fairgrounds.
There's what?
Sex trafficking. I'm not, yeah.
God.
So I'm curious, that might be something that needs to be brought to the attention of Sheriff Norris. And the manager was approached and said, oh, yes, we know what's going on and we're handling it. I mean, look at, what are we promoting in our community? No, I'm being serious.
No, you're not.
Yeah, well, you were happy to promote Nellie.
Well, sex trafficking is ridiculous. Do we have undercover people going to be there?
Okay, great.
Well, good. Don't worry about it.
Just for the record, we don't have any complaints of this at all.
None. I've heard nothing like that.
Well, you need to get out in the community more then.
Well, look, we're not going to debate this right
Okay,
now.
another thing that I did want to bring to the attention is regarding calling citizens jackals and chihuahuas with a microphone. Are you setting a precedence here of calling people names? Because we can call you Jabba the Hutt, fat, lazy, treasonous,
Nina,
dishonest.
excuse me, this is public comment.
It is
Okay, you're
public
turning it
comment.
into Q&A. I'm not going to respond to you, but I think Commissioner Duncan wanted to speak. Go right ahead.
So the only thing I'm going to address is Nellie. Not my cup of tea, not the type of music I listen to or go for. However, I do believe that the effort put forth by the fairgrounds, the contract says family friendly, so there isn't going to be obscene language. The steps that they've taken to talk to other fairgrounds and other policing agencies who've dealt directly with Nellie, and the security company who's also handled Nellie concerts, I'm not in a position to ask for the contract to be canceled. So whereas I don't care for the person necessarily, I don't see this as a huge issue. Now, if he was allowed to play, his music, I suppose, unedited, unchanged for this family-friendly event, then I think it'd be a different conversation. I do understand your concerns, and I feel like with the security put in place, with the contract and the way this person has performed in other venues, in other fair-specific venues, then that's where I stand.
I think there were 1,000,001 other artists that could have been chosen that could have promoted morality in our community. This person is not known for it. He's even known for rape and other things. I just don't think that this is something we should be promoting in our community, especially to our children.
Sure. And I don't necessarily disagree, but maybe if you had a list of these artists that you could submit them to the Fair Board to potentially bring some of these people here.
I think it's a reflection of the moral character of those that are elected. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Anyone else? Okay, I have 2:29. Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.